Good morning, folks. Welcome to Jayjay's Competition Barbecue. Today we're going to be doing a USDA Prime whole packer brisket on the Mayu drum. We're going to try to do it hot and fast. It's going to be the first time I've done a brisket on the drum smoker. So stay with us, and I'm going to bring you along. We're going to see how this is going to turn out. Like I said, this is a USDA Prime brisket, weighing about 15.5 pounds before trimming it. We're going to do a very simple trim today and a very simple rub that anybody in the backyard cook can do at home. So let's get this thing opened. We're going to trim off the big thick fat pieces of it, and we're going to trim some of the fat cap off. We'll leave some of it on the drum smoker. All your heat's coming from the bottom, so I'm going to use the fat cap as a protection layer for the brisket. And I don't know if some of y'all may not know, but a full packer brisket has two sections to it. You have a flat where you get your slices from, and this section here is called the point, and that's where you get what you hear is burn ends from. And it's separated by a layer of fat that runs like a fat vein, and you can kind of see it in the package there. And that's where you would separate the flat from the point part. So let's just open, get it trimmed down. I'm going to do a really simple trim, and we'll get this thing on the smoker. I always take paper towels when I get the brisket out of the pack. Just dry the brisket off. Like I said, this is a big piece of fat. It's not going to do us any good cooking. It's not going to render down. So we're just going to take our knife and do a simple trim of this and get rid of it. Now I do like to save these pieces, as when I put it on the drum or any smoker, I will put it down and let the brisket rest on it to kind of pick it up. You won't cut off any little frays of meat like that. It'll usually burn quick. You just want to clean it up a little bit. This is not a competition brisket by no means. And you can see the edges, how it's kind of turned light brown. I'll just come and just make an even trim all the way around just to get rid of all that. Come on around, you can see another clump of fat here. We're going to trim some of that out. Okay, we're ready to season this USDA prime brisket. What I like to do is I'll just take some cooking spray of any kind and just spray a light coat. Do this on pork butts or any kind of meat that we're smoking. And today we're just going to use a regular Montreal steak seasoning on the brisket. It's just something that the backyard can cook and get in pretty much any store local. So that's what I was wanting to keep this theme is for the backyard cook that might be doing their brisket for the first time. I always just kind of take my hand and pat down on the seasoning after you put it on, just to kind of make it bond. I like doing just a good uniform coat. Then we'll flip this brisket over, do the same thing on the front side. Always remember to get your sides. I usually do those next. And again, pat those in. Turn this around and get the other side. If you noticed, I season the fat side first, so when I flip it over, this is the way we're going to cook it, so we won't have to do any more flipping. I'm going to actually put this on a little rack to put it on the smoker. And as you can see, that's just a good uniform coat, both sides, all your sides around the edges of the brisket. And we'll get this put on the rack. Always spray your rack with cooking oil where it won't stick. And if you see how this is angled down, this is where I was talking about keeping some of your trimmings to put under it. So this brisket's gonna cook the way it's laying. So if you, anytime you can prop it up, will help you in your cook. See how this raised this up? And now you have a pretty good level brisket laying there. So we'll get next step. We're gonna go outside, light the smoker. I'm gonna bring y'all along with me. Okay, guys, I know this is not the best lighting in the world. Just thought I'd show it the drum cooker to you. It's dark outside, so I'm kind of having to do this in the garage. Once it gets daylight, we'll look at this smoker a little closer. But basically you have a drum, you have air intake vents here, you have an exhaust vent in the lid, you have a thermometer here, and you'll have grates in here that you set your meat on. You have a fire basket, which we're going to fill up with Weber charcoal briquettes. We're going to use a mixture of pecan and hickory wood. We're going to fill this about halfway up. We're going to put some pecan and hickory chunks in. We're going to fill it the rest of the way up with Weber briquettes, and then we'll put some more chunks of pecan and hickory up on top. I really like these new Weber bags. They got a Ziploc opening here that they're resealable. That's close to halfway. We're just going to put us some pecan chunks around all different sides. And then we'll put us a few pieces of hickory in with it. And we'll fill it on up. Okay, we've got our charcoal basket full. We'll sit this down in the drum, and I usually light this with like a propane weed burner. So I'll be back shortly. We'll get this lit, and I'll bring y'all along. I don't know how good you can see that, but you can see the coals are lit. So we'll give this a few minutes to get going, and I'll bring y'all back when we get ready to put the brisket on. All right, we have our smoker up to temp. We're running like right at 300 degrees. It's right at 7 a.m. in the morning. We're ready to put the brisket on. The plan is probably gonna cook this 3.5 to 4 hours unwrapped. I'm gonna spritz it with just plain water on every hour. And also when I spritz it, I'm gonna rotate the brisket. That's the reason it's on a rack, so it's easier to rotate 90 degrees each time I spritz it. So let's get this brisket on, get it cooking, looking at hopefully 7-8 hours at the most. All right, the brisket's on, so let's give it an hour. We'll come back and check it, look at the color, spritz it, rotate it. Okay, the smoker's running right at like 325 degrees. It's been smoking for an hour. The smell is amazing with the pecan and hickory, and you can hear the brisket rendering, the fat rendering out of it. You can also smell it. So let's open this up, spritz it, and we'll rotate it 90 degrees, and we'll let it go for another hour. Let me see if I can get y'all a close-up view. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's looking really good after just 1 hour. Stay with us and we'll finish this cook off. Okay guys, we're at the 2-hour mark. We're still running about 325, 315, somewhere in there. Smoke still rolling good from the pecan and hickory wood. Time to spritz and rotate our brisket again. Looking really good. Okay, we're back 3-hour mark. The brisket's still getting good smoke from pecan and hickory wood. We've creeped up a little on the temperature, about 340, but that's okay. It's time to spritz and rotate the brisket. So the brisket is really got a lot of juice. Looking really good, and I already rotated it right before I opened it and started the camera back. I forgot to start the camera, so stay tuned. Be back in another hour. We'll see how it's doing. That'll be 4 hours. Probably check it in about 30 minutes. If it looks okay, I may wrap it. If not, probably wait till the 4-hour mark to wrap it. Stay tuned. All right, we're at the 4-hour mark with the brisket. The temperature has come on up, probably 375. That should be okay. Still got a good smoke of pecan and hickory. We're gonna open this up. It's been 4 hours, so we're gonna fix to wrap this brisket, and we'll bring you along for that. Looks like we're at about 175, 177. So we're gonna bring this in here and wrap it. I'm gonna use 4 pieces of foil. Use 2 on the bottom. And then we'll come up, kind of make a little jiggle. Kind of makes a little boat. And we'll just pour this beef broth around it. Wrap this good and tight. Then we'll put this back on the cooker. Okay, we're back. We're still running just a little over 300 degrees. The brisket has been wrapped for 1 hour. So I'm going to take my thermal pen just to check the tenderness and the temperature of the brisket and see where we're at. We look like we're at like 192. The tenderness is not there yet, so we're going to shut the lid and let it go for another hour. All right, welcome back. We are at the 7-hour mark. The brisket has been wrapped for 3 hours, and we're going to check for tenderness and see where we're at. .208 on internal temperature, 209. The flats, 209, 210. And it's probing just like you're sticking this needle into butter, soft butter or peanut butter, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to say this brisket is done. Looking at like 209 in the flat. So let's recap on what we've done today. We started out with a 15-pound brisket USDA prime. We've done minimum trimming on it. We've done a basic rub with Montreal steak seasoning. We've cooked it on the Mayu drum, hot and fast, anywhere from 300 to 350 degrees. And we smoked it unwrapped for 4 hours. We wrapped it and added beef broth to the wrap, and it is cooked for 3 hours wrapped. So for a total of 7 hours, we have a done brisket. I'm going to take the brisket out now and put it into the Cambro, or if you don't have a Cambro, you can use a ice chest. And we're going to let it rest for a couple hours. We'll slice it up and see what the final result is. brisket has been resting for an hour and a half in the Cambro. So we're going to open this up and we're going to see. We'll go ahead and measure the temperature after it's been resting for an hour and a half, and we can see how hot it still is. We'll get it out and slice it up. After it's been resting for an hour and a half, it's still 180 degrees in the flat. And basically 180, 181 in the point. Let me get that jiggle. Now also, another thing I do with this juice, we get us a grease separator, and I always keep this juice and I pour it in there and I'll separate the grease from the flavor basically. And we'll let that sit there and separate. Your grain of the meat is running this way here, so you want to slice it across the grain. Now the point, the grain will be running the opposite, so you want to cut it, slice it opposite way. So we're going to come right in here is about where the flat ends. So we're going to come in here and cut this right in here. And just look at the juice. We'll set the point back over here for just a second. Wrap it up, keep it warm. And we'll take the flat and we'll slice some slices off the flat. I try to do about 1/4 inch slices. I don't know if y'all can tell, but look at the smoke ring on this. And it should just, a gentle tug and it should come right apart. So it's really just perfectly tender. Just a gentle tug. I'm gonna give this a taste and see what the flavor tastes like. It's very good. If I had to describe what it tasted like, I would say it's got like a grilled steak flavor with a brisket texture. I'll finish slicing this up, and if you would, please subscribe to my channel. If you like more videos like this, hit the like button, comment below, and I'd love to talk barbecue with any of you. So until next time, keep the fires lit.